Hi everyone, welcome back to Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with the rumour has it video where we're talking about players linked to the football club this coming transfer window. And boy, this player certainly divides opinion, certainly mine and a few others out there as well. This is not ITK. We don't really talk about, things that we've heard, from person here or there, or, talk and murmurs and just clickbait stuff. We just talk about stuff that is reported in the media and linked to the football club. Some of it's true, some of it's false. I'll probably put this one in the false category, but we are going to cover it because it is Newcastle United transfer links after all. So we're going to get stuck right into that in a minute. And that's the kind of thing you guys like. Smash subscribe. Come help us get to the 9,000 subscriber mark. We're only a couple of hundred away. We have had a bit of a subscriber decline recently due to a negative impact on a video that we did recently. I'm not going to get too far into that. There's a community post about that, which many of you have commented on. I do appreciate the support and the love on that one as well. But we won't be doing posts like that moving forward. We will strictly be doing football posts like this and get ready. We're going to talk about football right now. So who am I talking about? Well, normally you would talk about this and you'd be quite excited about it. We're talking about a former World Cup winner. We're talking about a player who's played with some of the best players in the world, who's played for some of the best managers in the world, a player who does have ability. There's no doubt about it. Can change games in an instance with a killer pass or a screaming strike from 25, 30 yards or something like that. But this player has more baggage than the departure lounge at Newcastle fucking airport. Who am I talking about? Of course, it's this lad right here, Paul Pogba. There he is sporting black and white stripes with Juventus. That's the only black and white stripes, I believe, that he'll be sporting in his entire fucking career. But if you can believe it or not, Paul Pogba has been linked to return to the Premier League and possibly with Newcastle United. Now, stop laughing for a minute. I'll get into the reasons why I think this is a terrible idea. But, if you don't know what's happened with Paul Pogba over recent time, Paul Pogba was banned from football effectively in August 2023 because he tested positive for some doping substances, I think, in a random drug test. And he actually got a really harsh punishment of a 4-year ban. Now, that was going to basically do his entire career. It would have took him up till, I think he was about 35 or something like that, or 34. It would have been completely fucked. That was his career finished. That got overturned. So they looked at it and they said that basically they were preventing him from earning money in his career. And also because I think the main reason was that it was cut down to 18 months was that the actual the substance that they tested him for turned out that it was just a reckless kind of use and subscription from a doctor in Florida, I think it was, that prescribed it to Paul Pogba, and obviously it was against the anti-doping laws, and that's the reason why they've reduced his ban. So now as it stands, he can actually train with the team in January, but he won't physically be available from his ban until March. It's a deja vu from Newcastle Sandro Tonali, isn't it? So there's links to Paul Pogba to both Newcastle United and West Ham, as if either one of them teams need any more fucking drama. But let's talk about Paul Pogba, the player, and then I'll tell you about Paul Pogba, the character, which is why I wouldn't want him anywhere near this football club. But you all know Paul Pogba's kind of path. He started out as a youth player at Manchester United. There's a reason Fergie moves players on. He doesn't keep, he doesn't get rid of really good young players. You can count them on one hand of players that he let go. I think Peter Beardsley was one, Fergie, by the way. He dropped the bollock there. But Paul Pogba was sent away at Juventus, and he kind of made his name at Juventus, and he really kicked on and become a really, one of Europe's most exciting young midfielders, really scoring goals, putting tackles in, creating. He can play in a plethora of positions all across midfield, from defensive midfield, the centre, the left or right, number 10, even the striker. Sometimes he's played then in his career in terms of what he's done. So he had 233 appearances for Manchester United altogether, which I still can't believe. 39 goals and 48 assists, and 190 appearances for Juventus and 34 goals and 41 assists. So when you look at it on paper, you actually think this guy's not a bad player, to be fair. 6 foot odd, strong, decent on the ball, can make things happen as well. But what has stopped Paul Pogba becoming one of this generation's best midfielders? One word for me, or 2 words: ego and attitude. That's been Paul Pogba's biggest problem throughout his entire fucking career. I think that's a reason why Fergie flicked him over to Juventus in the first place. He came back from Juventus to Manchester United like he was the second coming of Christ. The minute he played a couple of good games here and there, Real Madrid wanted him and fucking Barca wanted him, and his agent was out causing mischief in the press, and he just wasn't a very likable character in the world of football, I don't believe, to what you would call the real football fans. Manchester United fans were kind of split down the middle. Some of them thought he was fucking brilliant just because they wanted this 90 million quid transfer to work so much and they kidded themselves on that he was this brilliant player. The other half thought he was a shit house, didn't rock up. He was arguing, he fell out with Mourinho and stuff like that as well. I think his best time and Manchester United came, I think, when he was linking up with Zlatan Ibrahimovic. They had a really good partnership going. But Paul Pogba's attitude was absolutely lifted, to be fair. And he was moved back over to Juventus, where again he started to do all right for a period of time, and then some of the issues started coming again: the loss of form, the injuries, and then the doping ban as well. But this article is linking him to a return to the Premier League, which is fucking mad, by the way. He's actually training over in America on his own at the minute. That just shows you no club's even interested in giving him a facility to train in. I'll give you a reason probably why I think that is in a minute. But according to this football website, I think it's called, Fichas, they're saying that he's emerged as a target for West Ham and Newcastle United ahead of January. I'll get into the reason why I think that is fucking ridiculous as well. But moving into that, so they're saying he can resume the train, as I said, in January, but he can't come back until March. But even then, if you sign him, he's not going to be anywhere near match fit because he hasn't played for so long since Juventus terminated his contract, which shows you what they thought of him as well, to be fair. And he's basically a free agent now. And to me, I just don't see this happening whatsoever. It says Newcastle are in the market for bargain signings, but fucking hell, what's the biggest strength that Newcastle United have right now? It's the unity in amongst that squad with Eddie Howe and the players. They're all playing for each other. They've got this great sense of unity. Why the fuck would they want to bring a loose cannon like Paul Pogba into that mix, regardless of the silverware he's won and his ability with the football when he can be asked to do it? He's just not worth the risk. At 31 years old, this is a complete non-story for me. I'm going to cover it anyway because it is Newcastle United related and we're content creators and that's what we do. I don't believe for a second that Newcastle are interested in this player whatsoever. He's US bound or he's Saudi Arabian bound for me, 100%. And going back to the reason why clubs don't want it to come and train in their facilities, he's spending more of his time with fucking YouTubers like Speed, as you can see from this picture here, playing around and just making it look even more of a reason not to sign him. This is Pogba's biggest problem. I called him an Instagram footballer for so long. That's all he's asked about. Brian Pogba, he's not bothered about what he does in the pitch. The fact that he plays in the pitch is just an almost an after effect of who he thinks he is as a person. He thinks he's like fucking Michael Jordan or LeBron James or something like that. He thinks he's this larger than life sporting character. Now, Cristiano Ronaldo has that. He has the gravitas of being Ronaldo, everything that comes with him, the personality, the looks, the whole thing. But he does it on the football pitch. He's over in Saudi Arabia smashing in goals. Yes, it's probably a league that's below his level, but he smashed in goals wherever he went, Cristiano Ronaldo, as did Leo Messi. They did it on the pitch time and time again. Paul Pogba's nowhere near that bracket of those players, and he never fucking has been. In his mind he is, but he's never been there as a player for me, and nobody's going to tell me otherwise. Nobody's going to tell me that this guy is anywhere near as good as he ever thought that he fucking is. Honest to God, he's not. I would rather have Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Linton, fucking Sean Longstaff in our midfield than Paul Pogba. At least with Sean Longstaff, you get graft, you get determination. You also get a player who's playing with team unity. Can he probably do things on the ball that Pogba can do? Probably not. But the fact that Pogba's an arsehole is why you don't want him anywhere near your squad. And it's very, very rare that I agree with Graham Souness, very much so, given the fact he was disastrous as a Newcastle manager and he's a cantankerous, miserable old bastard as well. But on Paul Pogba, he was absolutely right. And he called it right from early on that this kid does not have the right attitude to be the player that he should be. And that's exactly the problem with Paul Pogba. It has been his entire career. John Joe Shelby had a little bit of that, I think. The attitude wasn't quite there. But when Shelby knuckled down under Rafa, and a little bit under Howe as well, you could see the player that Shelby was. Paul Pogba's problem is he's never really done that. He's never really settled down to play for a player. I'm not a massive Serie A fan. I'm sure there might be some Serie A fans in the comments giving me shit saying he was amazing for Juventus. I think he was in his first spell. I think that's what got him his move back to Manchester United for 90-odd million quid. But there is no way in a cat and hell's chance that Eddie Howe is going to sign Paul Pogba. And if Mitchell tries to throw Paul Pogba into this equation, Eddie Howe's fucking notice will probably come in swiftly after it. But let us know in the comments below what you guys think about Paul Pogba being linked to Newcastle United. You're probably very much the same as me. It's an absolute waste of fucking time. It's never going to happen. And these people are just looking to fill column inches and get people like me talking about it. But that's what we do. We talk about links. We talk about transfer links in this channel. It's not ITK. We just talk about what's reported and tell you whether we think it's a good idea or not. And for this one, fuck no, it's not a good idea whatsoever because Paul Pogba is poisonous to squad unity. Whether he likes to own that or not, he probably doesn't. he is poisonous to a squad unity. You wouldn't want him anywhere near your team whatsoever. Saudi or MLS for him. You'd probably end up in the Miami, probably with the rest of the Barcelona kind of retirement home there. But even then, you'd probably piss them off, probably. So maybe Bex won't even sign him either because he's such bad news. And obviously, Manchester United don't think too highly of him either, so maybe Beckham won't sign him. But let us know in the comments below what you think about it and where you think Pogba will end up next. I don't think he'll end up at Blythe Spartans, by the way, but just a little spoiler there. But yeah, we always like to hear from you. Drop a comment in, guys. Keep it nice. Keep it above the bell. We've had enough shit over the last few weeks. I don't need any more, to be honest with you. But yeah, if you like this kind of thing, smash subscribe. Come help us get to that 9,000 subscriber mark. We have got a great prize there for you to give away once we get there, whenever that will be. Smash that button, recommend us to family and friends. We'll be back with some more content this week. We've got a few more transfer stories to cover, and thankfully, Newcastle United are back in action after our Magpies starred for England in a 5-0 smashing of Ireland the other night as well. So keep it evermore, guys. Have a belter, and we'll see you later.